There are moments when life hits so hard you can barely breathe, when the pain cuts deep, when the loss feels unbearable, and when the silence of God seems louder than any answer you ever hoped for. You wonder, why did this happen to me? Or where is God in all of this? But what if I told you that your pain is not wasted? That every tear you've cried has been seen, and that the very thing that broke you might be the thing God uses to bless you. You see, pain is never the end of the story. It's often the beginning of purpose. And when you understand how God works through pain, your faith grows stronger, your vision becomes clearer, and your heart starts to see what your eyes never could. Today, we're going to uncover 5 biblical truths about how God turns pain into purpose. Truths that can transform your entire outlook on suffering and help you find meaning even in your darkest moments. Truth has shown God never wastes pain. Every trial, every heartbreak, every disappointment carries a divine purpose. Romans 8:28 reminds us, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him. That means even the things that seem senseless, God can use them for your good and his glory. Maybe you went through rejection, but God used that to redirect you. Maybe you lost something, but God used that loss to make room for something greater. God is not the author of evil, but he is the master of redemption. He can take what the enemy meant for harm and use it to shape your character, build your faith, and prepare you for the destiny he's written for you. Joseph in the Bible was betrayed, sold, and imprisoned, but through it all, God was working behind the scenes. What looked like punishment was actually preparation. And when the time was right, Joseph stood in a palace saying to his brothers, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." That's your story too. Your pain may have surprised you, but it never surprised God. Truth, #2. Pain produces strength that comfort never could. We all love the easy seasons, but it's in the hard seasons that our faith is refined. Just like fire purifies gold, suffering refines the soul. James 1-2:4 says, "Consider it pure joy when you face trials of many kinds, because the testing of your faith produces perseverance." That means your pain has a purpose. It's training your spirit, shaping your endurance, and teaching you to depend not on your own strength, but on God's. The pain that once made you cry will one day become the story that inspires someone else. The wounds you carry can become the very evidence of God's healing power. Think about it. The strength you have today came from battles you didn't think you'd survive. You learned to pray when life got hard. You learned to trust when everything fell apart. You discovered that even when you couldn't hold yourself together, God was holding you. So don't despise your pain. It's building you into someone you could never become without it. Truth #3. God uses pain to align you with his purpose. Sometimes we're headed in one direction, chasing our own plans, when God allows pain to interrupt our path. Not to punish us, but to position us. Pain has a way of getting our attention like nothing else. When everything is comfortable, we rarely seek God deeply. But when life breaks us open, we start to listen differently. Proverbs 19:21 says, "Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails." You may not understand it now, but the closed doors, the detours, and the heartbreaks might be God's way of steering you toward your true calling. Look at Jonah. God called him to Nineveh, but Jonah ran the other way. It wasn't until the storm came and Jonah found himself in the belly of a fish that he surrendered to God's plan. Sometimes the storms that scare us are the very things that save us. Pain becomes the teacher that pushes you back into alignment with divine purpose. Truth hash 4. God reveals his presence most clearly in pain. It's easy to believe God is with us when life is good, but the true test of faith is believing he's with us in the fire. The Bible's filled with stories of God showing up in the middle of suffering, not removing the pain, but walking through it with his people. In Daniel 3, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were thrown into the fiery furnace for refusing to bow down to the king. But when the king looked inside, he saw 4 men walking unharmed, and the fourth looked like a son of the gods. That's Jesus showing up in the flames. God didn't keep them out of the fire, but he kept them safe inside it. That's what he does for you. You may not feel him in every moment, but he's closer than you think. Psalm 34-18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Pain has a strange way of making God's presence more real. When your heart is broken, he holds you closer. When you're weak, his strength becomes your lifeline. Sometimes you won't know that God is all you need until he's all you have. Truth hash 5. Your pain can become someone else's healing. This is one of the most beautiful ways God turns pain into purpose. The very things you've survived can become the reason someone else doesn't give up. 2 Corinthians 1-3-4 says, God comforts us in all our troubles so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. That means your pain isn't just about you, it's about the people God will touch through you. When you share your story, you share hope. When you testify about how God brought you through, you light the way for someone still walking in the dark. Maybe your broken heart will help someone heal. Maybe your loss will help someone find strength. Maybe your scars will remind someone that God restores what's been shattered. Every story of pain has the potential to become a story of purpose if you let God write the next chapter. So if you're in a painful season right now, if you're wondering why life turned out this way, remember this: pain is not the end. It's the soil where your purpose begins to grow. You might not see it yet, but God is weaving something beautiful through every broken thread. The tears you've cried are watering seeds of destiny. The nights you spent questioning will one day turn into testimonies that touch others. Don't quit in the middle of your pain. There's purpose waiting on the other side. God never allows you to go through something that he doesn't plan to use for your good. So lift your head, breathe again. Choose faith even when you don't feel it. You may not understand what God is doing now, but one day you'll look back and say, now I see. It had to happen this way. Because the pain that once crushed you will become the power that carries you. The very thing that made you fall to your knees will become the reason you stand tall in faith. Remember, your story isn't over. It's just getting rewritten by the hands of a God who specializes in turning pain into purpose